In the beginning, there was stillness, a silence that had endured for ages, undisturbed by the clamour of mortal strife or the whispers of dying gods. The lands between had known many visitors, many warriors who sought to claim the fragments of the Elden Ring to restore order to a realm shattered by the ambitions of demigods and the machinations of outer forces, but none like what was about to arrive. It began with a tremor, subtle at first, a mere ripple across the golden Erd tree's light that illuminated the broken kingdom. Then came the tearing, a wound in the fabric of reality itself, splitting the amber sky like a jagged scar. From this celestial wound poured a light neither gold like grace nor crimson like blood, but a brilliant blue that had never before been witnessed in this sombre land. The Tarnished, who wandered the Limgrave plains, looked up in wonder and terror as the tear in reality widened. Merchants ceased their trades, knights lowered their swords, and even the wandering beasts paused their hunt, all eyes drawn to the phenomenon that defied the natural laws of their world. "The Erd tree rejects another," whispered an old crone in the church of Ele, her fingers trembling as she clutched her walking stick. "No," replied a knight beside her, his armor weathered by countless battles. "This is something else entirely. Neither grace nor curse guides this omen." From the rift emerged a single figure, descending slowly like a falling star, wrapped in an aura of power so foreign to this land that the very air around him seemed to bend and distort. He did not fall as one might expect, but rather drifted downward with purpose, as if the laws of this world held little sway over him. The figure touched down upon the rolling hills of Limgrave, the impact sending a shockwave that flattened the golden grass in a perfect circle around him. As the dust settled, he stood, a man unlike any the lands between had ever known. His hair stood defiant against gravity, black as the darkest night, and his eyes carried a certainty that seemed almost alien in a realm defined by doubt and despair. He wore strange garments, an orange gi with a blue undershirt, boots and wristbands, adorned with strange symbols that spoke of a power system entirely foreign to the Golden Order or any other known cosmic force. The man looked around, confusion evident on his face as he took in the sight of the massive Erd tree in the distance, its golden branches stretching across the sky. He flexed his hands, feeling the strange energy of this new world coursing around him. "Hello?" he called out, his voice carrying an optimism that seemed almost sacrilegious in these blighted lands. "Anyone know where I am, or how I got here?" No answer came, save for the whistling wind and the distant growl of wandering monsters. The man scratched his head, a surprisingly casual gesture for one whose very arrival had torn a hole in the sky. "Huh, that's weird," he muttered to himself. "1 minute I'm training with Whis, and the next." He trailed off, looking back up at the rapidly closing rift above. "Guess I should figure out where I am and how to get back." With a light spring in his step that belied the gravity of his situation, the stranger began walking toward the ruins visible in the near distance, unaware that his presence had already sent ripples through the delicate balance of the lands between. In the shadows of a crumbling church, a tarnished warrior watched the newcomer with interest. Melina, a maiden who had seen countless warriors rise and fall in their quest to become Elden Lord, felt something she had not experienced in ages: uncertainty. This visitor bore no mark of the Elden Ring's shattering, no curse of the Tarnished, yet he radiated a power that seemed to exist outside the influence of the greater will itself. Curious, she whispered to herself. Very curious indeed. The man who had fallen from the sky approached the church of LA, where several frightened Tarnished had gathered, keeping their distance from the strange visitor. An old merchant, hunched over his wares, eyed the newcomer warily. "You're not from these lands, are you?" the merchant called out, his voice a mix of curiosity and caution. "I've seen many travelers, but none who arrive as you did." The spiky-haired man smiled broadly, a genuine smile that seemed out of place in this grim world. "I'm Son Goku," he announced cheerfully, "but most people just call me Goku. And no, I'm definitely not from around here. Actually, I'm trying to figure out where here is." The merchant blinked in surprise at the forthright response. Such openness was rare in a land where secrets meant survival. "You stand in the lands between, stranger, a realm once blessed by the greater will and the Erd Tree, now fractured by war and abandonment." The merchant gestured to the massive golden tree dominating the horizon. "All who wander here seek the same, to repair the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord, though you—" He looked Goku up and down. "You don't bear the mark of the Tarnished." Goku tilted his head, processing this information. "Elden Ring? Greater will? Sorry, but I don't know anything about that. I was training with my teacher when suddenly there was this bright light, and then I ended up here." He placed his hands on his hips, looking up at the glowing tree. "It's pretty, though. Reminds me of the Tree of Might, but way less evil looking." The gathered Tarnished exchanged glances, unsure whether to be amused or terrified by this visitor who spoke of cosmic powers as casually as one might discuss the weather. "You speak strange words, outsider," said a knight who had been listening from the shadows. He stepped forward, his armor bearing the heraldry of Lanedale. "But if you truly possess power, you would do well to guard it. The demigods who rule these shattered lands consume strength like vultures." Goku's expression shifted, a flicker of seriousness crossing his features. "Demigods, are they strong?" The knight laughed bitterly. "Strong enough to tear the very fabric of order asunder. Strong enough that each holds a shard of the Elden Ring itself. Godric the Grafted, Starscourge Radahn, Queen Renala, General Radahn, each a terror unto themselves." At this, Goku's eyes lit up with unmistakable excitement. "They sound powerful, Maybe they can help me figure out how to get home, or at least give me a good fight while I'm here. The knight stepped back, clearly disturbed by Goku's enthusiasm. You seek combat with the demigods? Are you mad or merely ignorant? Even the mightiest Tarnished approach such battles with dread and preparation. Goku stretched his arms above his head casually. Well, I don't know about Tarnished or Elden Lords, but fighting strong opponents is kind of my thing. Besides, he added with a grin, I need to see what this world has to offer. It feels different. The energy here isn't like the ki I'm used to. As if to demonstrate, Goku extended his palm and concentrated. A small orb of blue-white energy formed above his hand, pulsing with power that was neither sorcery nor incantation, something entirely foreign to the lands between. The gathered crowd gasped and stepped back further. See, Goku said, letting the ki ball dissipate. It works, but it feels heavier here, like the air is thick with something else. From the edge of the gathering, a hooded figure stepped forward. Melina's mismatched eyes studied the visitor with intense curiosity. What you feel is the influence of the Erd Tree and the remnants of the Elden Ring, she said softly. All power in these lands flows from it. Glintstone sorcery, the Golden Order's incantations, even the frenzied flame. Your ki, as you call it, is something outside our understanding. Goku turned to her, sensing something different about this woman compared to the others. And you are? I am Melina. I offer guidance to the Tarnished along the path to becoming Elden Lord. She studied him carefully. Though you are not Tarnished, perhaps our meeting was still fated. Your arrival has disturbed more than just the sky, Goku. The very patterns of power shift with your presence. Goku scratched the back of his head. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Trouble has long been the only constant in the lands between, Melina replied with the faintest smile. But your coming may yet serve a purpose. The demigods have grown corrupt with power, each hoarding their fragment of the Elden Ring, unwilling to relinquish what they believe is theirs by right. Goku looked thoughtful. So these fragments, they're like really powerful artifacts. The knight who had spoken earlier laughed harshly. They are pieces of a god, outsider. The Elden Ring was shattered in the night of black knives, and with it, the natural order. Death itself functions improperly. The demigods seized the great runes for themselves, and their wars have left these lands in ruin. And someone needs to gather these pieces to fix things, Goku asked, the concept beginning to make sense to him. Melina nodded. That is the path of the Tarnished, to seek the great runes, restore the Elden Ring, and become Elden Lord. It is a path of unimaginable hardship. Goku smiled broadly. Well, I'm not sure about becoming any kind of lord, but I do need to find my way home. And it sounds like these demigods might have answers, or at least know more about the powers at work here. He punched his open palm decisively. "All right, I'll help gather these rune things while I'm here. It's the least I can do for dropping in uninvited." The assembled crowd murmured in disbelief. This stranger proposed to challenge the demigods as if embarking on a pleasant journey rather than a suicide mission. The merchant chuckled, a raspy sound like dry leaves. "Your spirit is admirable, Goku, of the strange lands, but you will need more than courage to face what awaits. The legacy dungeons, the servants of the demigods, the very land itself rejects those who seek to change the order." Goku merely stretched, rolling his shoulders. "I've faced gods before. Some were friends, some were enemies. But I've learned that no matter how powerful someone is, there's always room to grow stronger." He looked toward the distant castle visible on the horizon. "Is that where one of these demigods lives?" "Stormvale Castle," the knight confirmed. "Domain of Godric the Grafted, the weakest of the demigod rulers, yet still a terror beyond mortal reckoning." "Then that's where I'll start," Goku declared. "It seems like the most straightforward path." Melina stepped forward again. "I shall accompany you, at least in spirit. My body cannot manifest fully in this realm, but I can offer guidance, and perhaps learn what purpose brought you to our broken world." Goku nodded gratefully. "Thanks, Melina. It'll be good to have someone who knows this place. I tend to get lost easily." As the strange visitor set off towards Stormvale Castle with a bouncing stride entirely at odds with the somber mood of the lands between, the remaining Tarnished looked at each other in bewilderment. "Did he just skip?" one whispered. "The demigods will destroy him," muttered another. The old merchant simply shook his head, a knowing gleam in his eye. Perhaps, or perhaps the lands between are about to witness something they have never seen before. Word of the sky-fallen warrior spread quickly through the haunted wilds of Limgrave. Soldiers of Godric's army reported a man moving with impossible speed towards Stormvale, dealing with obstacles not through careful strategy as most Tarnished did, but with overwhelming force and a strange sort of mercy, leaving defeated foes unconscious rather than slain. In the gathering hall of Stormvale Castle, Godric the Grafted shifted uneasily on his throne of fused flesh and bone. The demigod ruler, a twisted mockery of his divine bloodline, had grafted countless limbs to his body in a desperate attempt to reclaim the strength of his ancestor, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. "What nonsense is this?" he snarled at the kneeling knight before him. "You claim a man fell from the sky itself? That he dispatches my soldiers with his bare hands and strange magic?" "It is truth, my lord," the knight replied, head bowed low. "He moves unlike any Tarnished we have encountered." He leapt over the ravine as if it were a small puddle. "When confronted by your trolls, he defeated them with single blows that shook the very earth." Godric's many-fingered hand tightened around his throne's armrest, crushing the stone. "Another would be Elden Lord then, coming to claim my great rune." He laughed, A sound like breaking glass. Let him come. I have grafted the strength of countless warriors to my body. What is one more peculiar, tarnished to add to my collection? In the shadows of the hall, Godric's attendant, Gostock, listened with keen interest. Unlike his master, he sensed that this visitor might be different from the endless procession of Tarnished who fell before Godric's might. As Goku made his way toward Stormvale Castle, he encountered the difficulties of the lands between firsthand. Strange beasts lurked in the mists, soldiers patrolled with hollow eyes, and the very land seemed designed to challenge those who travelled it. This place is pretty grim, Goku remarked to Melina, who appeared beside him at a sight of grace, points of golden light where the Erd tree's blessing still lingered. Everyone I meet either attacks me or hides from me. The shattering broke more than just the Elden Ring, Melina explained, her spectral form glimmering in the golden light. It broke the spirit of these lands. Few remember kindness or trust anymore. Goku nodded thoughtfully. I've been to a lot of worlds, but this one feels heavy, like there's this weight pressing down on everything. He looked up at the golden tree dominating the skyline. That Erd tree, it's important, right? It feels like it's watching everything. The Erd tree is the physical manifestation of the greater will's influence on our world. Melina said, from it flows grace, order, and law, or at least it once did. Now it stands as a reminder of what was lost. Goku stood up, dusting off his gi. Well, I still don't fully understand all this greater will and Elden Ring business, but I get the idea that these demigods are causing problems and somebody needs to set things right. As he prepared to continue his journey, a massive shadow passed overhead. Goku looked up to see an enormous dragon descending toward him, its scales gleaming like burnished gold, eyes blazing with ancient intelligence and malice. Agil, Melina whispered, the flying dragon. Many Tarnished have fallen to his flame. The dragon landed with earth-shaking force, its massive head lowering to regard the strange visitor. A rumbling growl emanated from its throat as flames flickered between its teeth. Rather than showing fear, Goku's face lit up with excitement. Whoa! A real dragon. It's different from Shenron or the ones on planet Vegeta, but still impressive. He took a fighting stance, bouncing lightly on his feet. Hey there, big guy. You want to fight? The dragon responded with a deafening roar and a torrent of flame that engulfed the area where Goku stood. When the inferno subsided, Melina looked on in shock. Goku remained standing, his clothes slightly singed, but otherwise unharmed. That was hot, Goku exclaimed, patting out a small flame on his sleeve. But I've trained in worse. My friend Piccolo once made me dodge lava geysers for a whole month. The dragon reared back in apparent confusion at the resilience of this small creature. It attacked again, this time with its massive claws swiping at where Goku stood, only to hit nothing but air as the Saiyan moved with blinding speed. "You're pretty fast for something so big," Goku called out, now standing atop a nearby rock formation. "But your movements are a little predictable." The dragon's fury intensified as it launched into the air, circling before diving at tremendous speed toward Goku. This time, instead of dodging, Goku planted his feet firmly and raised his hands. "All right, let's see how strong you really are," he shouted, his voice carrying an edge of excitement. As the dragon barreled toward him, Goku's aura flared, a brilliant white-blue energy that pushed back against the very air around him. With perfect timing, he caught the dragon's massive snout between his hands, the impact sending shock waves across the lake. For a moment, the two remained locked in this impossible tableau, a man holding back a creature hundreds of times his size through sheer physical strength. Then, with a mighty heave, Goku redirected the dragon's momentum upward, sending it tumbling through the air. "He's toying with it," Melina whispered in disbelief. The dragon recovered and landed heavily, its eyes now reflecting a new emotion, uncertainty. This small being defied everything it knew about the hierarchy of power in the lands between. Goku lowered himself into a deeper stance, cupping his hands at his side. Between his palms, blue energy began to gather, swirling and condensing. "I don't want to hurt you too badly," Goku called out to the dragon. "But I need you to understand that I'm just passing through. So here's a little sample of where I come from." The energy in his hands grew brighter, illuminating the entire area with its unearthly glow. The dragon, sensing the dangerous buildup of power, opened its maw to unleash another stream of flame. "Ka, mi, ha, mi," Goku chanted, the blue orb in his hands growing blindingly bright. As the dragon's flame erupted toward him, Goku thrust his palms forward. "Ha!" A massive beam of blue energy erupted from his hands, colliding with the dragon's fire breath. For an instant, the two forces struggled against each other. Then Goku's Kamehameha wave overwhelmed the dragon's flame, striking the creature in its chest and sending it sliding backward across the lake. Water exploding in massive waves from the impact. When the light faded, the dragon lay on its side, wounded but alive, its breathing labored. Goku approached cautiously, his expression softening. "You're really strong," he said, reaching out a hand toward the fallen dragon. "I held back a lot because I didn't want to kill you. In my world, dragons are usually wise and ancient creatures." To Melina's astonishment, the dragon did not attempt to attack again. Instead, it regarded Goku with what could only be described as grudging respect in its ancient eyes. "I've never seen a beast of such power yield," she said, approaching cautiously. "The dragons of the lands between know only conquest and territory." Goku smiled, gently placing his hand on the dragon's scales. "Every creature understands strength, but true strength isn't about domination. It's about knowing when to fight and when to show mercy." He looked at the dragon thoughtfully. "I think he recognizes that I could have killed him, but chose not to. That means something in any world. After a final nod to the subdued dragon, Goku continued his journey toward Stormvale Castle. Behind him, Flying Dragon Ughail watched his departure with ancient eyes that had witnessed countless Tarnished fall in futile battle. Yet never had the dragon encountered one who showed both overwhelming power and willing restraint. At the gates of Stormvale Castle, Goku encountered Gostok, the hunched servant of Godric, who offered guidance to approaching Tarnished. Another one comes seeking Lord Godric's great rune. Gostok observed with his perpetual stoop and calculating eyes. Though you're a strange one indeed, word of your arrival precedes you, sky-fallen warrior. Goku approached the gate, taking in the massive fortress with appreciation. This is a pretty impressive castle. So, this Godric guy is inside. I'd like to meet him. Gostok's eyebrows rose at the casual tone. Meet him? Lord Godric does not grant audiences. He grafts the limbs of would-be heroes to his own body, strengthening himself with their power. That's gross, Goku replied, making a face. And kind of inefficient. True strength comes from training and pushing your limits, not stealing power from others. Philosophy matters little when facing the wrath of a demigod. Gostok warned, but if you are determined, I can show you a secret path, a hole in the castle defenses where you might slip in unnoticed. The main gate is heavily guarded and would mean certain death. Goku considered this for a moment, then shook his head. Thanks, but I think I'll take the front door. I'm not really the sneaking type. Gostok stared at him in disbelief. The main gate? Impossible! A ballista awaits, along with scores of Godric's finest soldiers. That's okay, Goku said cheerfully. It'll be a good warm-up before meeting Godric. Besides, I don't want to start off with trickery. If I'm going to challenge him, I should do it properly. The gatekeeper studied Goku's face, searching for signs of madness or deception, but found only genuine determination. As you wish, strange one, Gostok finally said, gesturing toward the main path. Few choose to face Godric's wrath head-on. Fewer still live to regret that choice. As Goku walked away, Melina appeared beside him, her expression concerned. The direct approach through Stormvale is truly dangerous. Even with your power, you will face many of Godric's most dedicated warriors. That's fine, Goku replied with an easy confidence. I need to understand how warriors fight in this world anyway. The dragon was strong, but mostly relied on its size and fire. I want to see what skilled fighters here can do. Melina considered this perspective. You speak as someone accustomed to testing himself against different fighting styles. Goku nodded enthusiastically. Where I come from, I've fought all kinds of opponents, aliens, androids, gods of destruction, even other Saiyans like myself. Each fight teaches me something new. Saiyans? Melina inquired, curious about this term. That's what I am, a Saiyan from planet Vegeta, Goku explained as they walked. Though I was raised on Earth, Saiyans are warriors by nature. We actually get stronger after recovering from tough battles. This revelation made Melina pause. A being that grows stronger through conflict. You are well suited to the trials of the lands between then. Perhaps your arrival was not mere chance. As they approached the main gate of Stormvale, the massive doors remained closed, but soldiers lined the walls above, observing the approaching visitor with weapons ready. They don't seem very welcoming, Goku observed. Godric permits no visitors, only sacrifices for his grafting, Melina explained. They see you as merely more material for their lord's ambitions. A soldier appeared atop the battlements, his armor marking him as a commander of Godric's forces. Turn back! Tarnished! By decree of Lord Godric the Golden, no wanderers are permitted within Stormvale's walls. Goku cupped his hands around his mouth and called back, I'm not tarnished. My name is Goku, and I'd like to speak with Godric about the great rune he has. This direct declaration caused a stir among the soldiers. The commander's voice came again, this time with an edge of mockery, bold words from a dead man. Lord Godric speaks only to those worthy of his attention, and worthiness is proven through the strength of one's limbs, which he will claim for himself. At a signal from the commander, the massive ballista mounted above the gate swiveled toward Goku. With a thunderous crack, it launched a spear-sized bolt directly at him. Melina gasped, but before she could speak, Goku's hand shot up with blinding speed. He caught the massive projectile mid-air, the impact pushing him back only slightly as his feet dug furrows in the dirt. Whoa! Goku exclaimed, examining the bolt in his hand. This thing is pretty heavy. Good thing I saw it coming. With casual ease, he tossed the massive bolt aside like a twig. The soldiers on the wall fell silent, their shock palpable even from a distance. The commander's voice, when it came again, had lost its mocking tone. What manner of tarnished are you? I told you already, I'm not tarnished, I'm Goku. He stretched his arms above his head, then settled into a fighting stance. Now, are you going to open the gate, or do I need to open it myself? The commander disappeared from view, presumably to confer with others or report to Godric himself. After a moment, the massive ballista fired again, this time joined by a volley of arrows from the castle's defenders. Goku's expression turned serious as he assessed the incoming barrage. With a swift movement, he leapt straight up, higher than should have been physically possible. The arrows and bolt passed harmlessly beneath him as he soared upward. At the apex of his jump, he found himself level with the astonished faces of the soldiers on the battlements. Sorry about this, Goku said with a grin before landing lightly on the wall among them. But I really do need to speak with your boss. The soldiers reacted with panic, some swinging swords at him, others backing away in terror. Goku moved through their attacks with fluid grace, deflecting blades with his bare hands and disabling his attackers with precise strikes that rendered them unconscious rather than dead. I don't want to hurt anyone, he called out as he worked his way through the defenders. I just need to get inside. Within minutes, the wall's defenders lay scattered around him, groaning but alive. Goku dusted off his hands and looked toward the mechanism that controlled the main gate. I guess I should open this for anyone else who wants to come through, he mused, examining the winch system. With a mighty heave, he began turning the mechanism, the chains groaning as the massive gate slowly cranked open. From below, a small group of Tarnished, who had been waiting outside the castle, watched in amazement as the impenetrable front gate of Stormvale began to rise. Operated by a single man who had somehow bypassed all of its defenses. Now then, Goku said to himself as he finished opening the gate, time to find this Godric person and have a chat about his great rune. Deep within Stormvale's twisted corridors, Godric the Grafted received the news of the intruder with mounting rage and, though he would never admit it, fear. No Tarnished had ever forced their way through the main gate so effortlessly. None had shown such peculiar power. He makes sport of my finest soldiers, Godric snarled, the many arms grafted to his body, twitching in agitation. He catches ballista bolts like toys. Yes, my lord, reported the commander, kneeling with his head bowed low. He moves faster than the eye can follow, and his strength, it is not of this world. Godric rose from his throne, his grotesque form towering over his subjects. Then I shall show him what true power is. I am the Golden, a god. Let this presumptuous fool come. He shall become the finest addition to my collection yet. But despite his bravado, Godric motioned to his attendants. Prepare the grafted Saiyan. Let it test this intruder's mettle before he reaches my chamber. In the antechamber leading to Godric's throne room, the most horrific of the demigod's creations waited, a being stitched together from countless bodies, arms sprouting from its torso like branches from a twisted tree, each wielding a different weapon. The grafted Saiyan, living proof of Godric's unholy craft, and the fate that awaited those who failed to overcome his challenges. Goku made his way through Stormvale Castle with a mixture of curiosity and caution. The ancient fortress was a maze of crumbling hallways, ambushes, and strange creatures, from knights to grafted abominations that made him recoil in disgust. This Godric really has a thing for sticking body parts together, Goku remarked to Melina as they passed a particularly disturbing creature with multiple arms stitched to its body. It's not right. Each warrior should develop their own strength, not take it from others. Melina nodded solemnly. Godric is perhaps the most insecure of the demigods. Born with the weakest portion of Marika's bloodline, he seeks to compensate through his grafting, stealing what power he cannot naturally possess. As they ventured deeper into the castle, Goku encountered increasingly difficult opponents, but continued to defeat them with relative ease. His fighting style, a mixture of disciplined martial arts and raw power, was unlike anything the defenders of Stormvale had encountered before. When soldiers attacked in formation, Goku would use their momentum against them, redirecting their attacks to create openings. When larger creatures charged, he would meet their strength with his own, often surprising them with counterattacks that sent them crashing through stone walls. "Your fighting technique," Melina observed after Goku dispatched a knight with a series of precise strikes. "It's not like the combat styles of the lands between. You fight as if you've studied many different forms." Goku smiled as he continued walking. "I've had a lot of teachers over the years. Master Roshi taught me the turtle school style when I was just a kid. Then there was Kami, King Kai. Even my own son Gohan has shown me techniques I didn't know. In my world, fighting is about constantly learning and adapting." "And what of this ki you mentioned earlier?" Melina asked. "Ki is life energy," Goku explained, holding out his hand and forming a small glowing sphere above his palm. "Everyone has it, but not everyone learns to control it. With training, you can focus it to increase your strength, speed, or even project it as an attack." He dispersed the energy ball and continued. "The strange thing is, ki feels different here, almost like it's mixing with something else. The energy of this world pushes back against mine in a way I haven't felt before." Their conversation was interrupted as they entered a large, circular chamber. The doors slammed shut behind them, and from the shadows emerged a nightmarish figure, a being cobbled together from multiple bodies, with over a dozen arms branching from its torso, each clutching a different weapon. "The grafted Saiyan," Melina whispered, "one of Godric's most prized creations." The creature lurched forward with unnatural movement, its many weapons creating a wall of deadly steel that would overwhelm any normal fighter. Goku studied it carefully, his expression turning serious. "This is just wrong," he said quietly. "Those were people once, weren't they?" "Yes," Melina confirmed. "Victims of Godric's obsession, fused together to create his perfect warrior." The Saiyan attacked with a flurry of blades, moving with surprising speed for such a monstrous creation. Goku dodged the initial assault, weaving between the blades with practiced ease. But the sheer number of weapons made a perfect defense difficult, and one sword managed to slice across his arm, drawing blood. "You're faster than you look," Goku acknowledged, glancing at the shallow cut on his arm. "But fighting with that many limbs makes your movements uncoordinated." The Saiyan responded with an inhuman shriek and renewed its attack, spinning like a whirlwind of blades. Goku continued to evade, studying the creature's patterns. After several exchanges, he began to understand its rhythm. "I see it now," he said, ducking beneath a horizontal slash. "Each arm moves independently, but they're all connected to the same mind that creates openings." With sudden decisiveness, Goku changed tactics. Rather than continuing to dodge, he stepped directly into the Saiyan's attack pattern. Moving with precision that bordered on prescience, he slipped between the creature's many weapons, targeting the central mass that connected its grafted parts. "I'm sorry for what was done to you," Goku said solemnly as he struck the creature with a palm thrust to its chest. But I need to end this. The impact sent the grafted Saiyan staggering backward. Before it could recover, Goku followed with a series of precise strikes to critical points on its body. Unlike his usual fighting style, these attacks weren't meant to showcase power, but rather to disable with mercy. The Saiyan collapsed, its many limbs twitching before falling still. It wasn't dead. Goku had carefully avoided lethal damage, but it was thoroughly incapacitated. I've never seen someone defeat a grafted Saiyan with such compassion, Melina said, approaching the fallen creature. Most would have hacked it apart without hesitation. Goku looked down at the pitiful creation. It didn't choose to be this way. The real enemy is whoever did this to them. His expression hardened. And I'm about to meet him, aren't I? Melina nodded toward the massive doors at the far end of the chamber. Beyond lies Godric's throne room. He will not show you the same mercy you've demonstrated here. I don't expect him to. Goku took a deep breath and pushed the massive doors open. They swung wide with surprising ease, revealing a vast throne room bathed in amber light that filtered through tall, narrow windows. At the far end, hunched upon an ornate seat that seemed too small for his misshapen form, sat Godric the Grafted. The demigod was a grotesque collage of flesh and limb, arms of varying sizes protruding from his torso at unnatural angles. Some were muscular and armored, others withered and pale. His face, partially hidden beneath a golden crown, contorted with disgust as Goku entered. Another Tarnished, come to challenge the Lord of Stormvale. Godric's voice echoed throughout the chamber, a blend of arrogance and contempt. Countless warriors have stood where you stand, and all have been grafted to my collection. Goku walked forward calmly, his footsteps echoing across the stone floor. I'm not tarnished. My name is Goku, and I'm just passing through. I've heard you've been causing a lot of suffering in these lands. Godric laughed, a terrible sound that seemed to come from multiple throats at once. Suffering? I elevate the weak. Through grafting, I offer them purpose beyond their pathetic existence. He raised his many arms. In me, they become part of greatness. That's not greatness, Goku replied, stopping in the center of the hall. True strength comes from within, not from stealing it from others. The people you've hurt didn't give you permission to use their bodies. The demigod's expression darkened. Permission? I am Godric the Golden, last of the true lineage of Godfrey. I command the very right to rule. He rose from his throne, his collection of limbs moving in unsettling coordination. You speak of strength? Let me show you true power. Godric lunged forward with surprising speed, a dozen arms reaching for Goku. The Saiyan sidestepped with ease, moving so quickly he seemed to disappear from view. You're fast, Goku observed, reappearing several feet away. But taking someone else's arm doesn't give you their skill or experience. Rage twisted Godric's features as he swung again, this time with a massive axe that materialized in one of his larger hands. The weapon cleaved through the air where Goku had stood a millisecond earlier. "Stay still, wretch!" Godric roared. "I want to understand something," Goku said, continuing to evade without counterattacking. "Why do you need all these extra parts? Weren't you strong enough on your own?" "Silence!" Godric bellowed, his attacks growing wilder. "I am the golden lineage incarnate, but the burden of greatness requires more than what the gods saw fit to give me. Through grafting, I transcend their limitations." As Godric spoke, golden energy began to crackle around his misshapen form. The air in the throne room grew heavy, and Goku felt a strange sensation similar to ki, but fundamentally different. It was the power of a great rune, ancient and twisted. "I see," Goku said, his expression serious. "You were afraid of not measuring up to your ancestors. So instead of training to become stronger, you took shortcuts. Forefathers, one and all, bear witness," Godric screamed to the heavens. The floor beneath them trembled as he channeled his power, and suddenly he lifted a severed dragon's head from behind his throne. In a grotesque display, Godric grafted the dragon's head onto his arm in real time. Flesh melded with flesh as the dragon's eyes flared to life, now bound to his will. Fire gathered in the beast's maw. "This should be interesting," Goku said, settling into a fighting stance for the first time. Dragonfire erupted across the throne room, so intense that the stone floor glowed red beneath the flames. When the inferno subsided, Godric's laughter died in his throat. Goku stood untouched, surrounded by a pale blue aura of ki. "My turn," the Saiyan said. Goku moved, and this time Godric could barely track him. A single punch connected with the demigod's center mass, and the force sent him flying backward into his throne, shattering it to pieces. "Impossible!" Godric wheezed, struggling to rise. "No, Tarnished has such power." "I told you, I'm not Tarnished," Goku replied, approaching steadily. "And I've faced beings who could destroy entire planets. Your borrowed strength doesn't compare." Fury and fear mingled on Godric's face as he raised the dragon-grafted arm once more. "Then burn, outsider." This time, Goku didn't dodge. He cupped his hands at his side, blue energy swirling between his palms. "Ka, mi, ha, mi." The dragon's maw opened wide, flames gathering with even greater intensity than before. "Ha!" The blue beam of energy met the dragon's flame mid-air. For a brief moment, they pushed against each other in brilliant equilibrium before Goku's Kamehameha cut through, engulfing both dragon and demigod in blue light. When the energy dissipated, Godric lay sprawled amidst the ruins of his throne, the dragon head severed from his arm and his many grafted limbs charred or broken. Yet he still breathed. Goku approached the fallen demigod. "I could have ended this with that attack, but that's not why I came here. You've hurt a lot of people, Godric. But I think there's still a chance for you to change." Godric's eyes widened with disbelief. "Mercy?" You offer mercy to a demigod? A bitter laugh escaped his mangled form. What manner of warrior spares his defeated enemy? The kind who knows that true strength is measured by more than conquest, Goku replied. He knelt beside Godric, looking him in the eyes. All these arms, all these parts you've taken, they haven't made you stronger in the ways that truly matter. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Godric's face. What would you know of a demigod's burden? I know what it's like to chase strength. Goku said quietly, I've spent my whole life training, fighting, pushing my limits, but I never took shortcuts, and I never sacrificed others to get there. A strange silence fell over the throne room. In the distance, they could hear the wind whistling through Stormvale's broken battlements. The Great Rune, Melina said, stepping forward from where she had been observing. It must be retrieved. Godric clutched at his chest reflexively. My birthright. You would strip me of my very essence. Goku looked to Melina, then back to Godric. Is that what gives you the power to rule these lands? It is a fragment of the Elden Ring, Melina explained. As long as he possesses it, his corruption will continue to spread through the realm. Goku considered this. Godric, I'm giving you a choice. Surrender the Great Rune willingly, and I'll help you find a better path. Real strength, earned through training and discipline. You speak madness, Godric hissed, though his voice had lost its commanding presence. What is a demigod without divine power? What remains of Godric the Golden? Just Godric, Goku said, simply. But maybe that's enough, if you're willing to find out who that really is. The demigod stared at him, centuries of pride warring with the humbling reality of his defeat. Slowly, painfully, he reached within himself and extracted a glowing rune, pulsing with golden light. I yield, he whispered, the words clearly unfamiliar to his tongue. As Goku accepted the great rune, a change came over the throne room. The oppressive atmosphere lightened, and even the amber light filtering through the windows seemed cleaner somehow. Melina's eyes widened. I've never seen a demigod relinquish power willingly. The implications are profound. It's just the first step, Goku said, helping Godric to his feet. Real change takes time and commitment. He turned to the demigod. Are you ready for that? Godric looked at his many grafted limbs with new eyes, as if truly seeing them for the first time. I do not know another way. Then I'll show you, Goku said, starting with freeing those who never chose to be part of your collection. In the days that followed, Stormvale Castle underwent a transformation. Under Goku's guidance, Godric began the painful process of removing his grafted limbs, returning what could be returned to the fallen, and properly laying to rest those who could not be restored. The news spread throughout the lands. Between a strange warrior had not only defeated Godric, but had somehow reformed him. Many dismissed it as impossible, yet the evidence was undeniable as refugees began returning to the lands around Stormvale, no longer fearing the grafting knife. Meanwhile, Goku continued to learn about this strange world. He spent long evenings with Melina, discussing the nature of the Erd Tree, the Greater Will, and the shattered Elden Ring. So these great runes are like pieces of a puzzle. Goku mused, studying Godric's rune as it hovered above his palm, and bringing them together would restore order to this world. In theory, Melina replied, her ghostly form shimmering in the firelight. But the other demigods will not surrender their runes as Godric did. They are consumed by their power, transformed by it. Goku nodded thoughtfully. Then I'll have to meet them too. His journey took him next to Liurnia of the Lakes, a vast, waterlogged landscape dominated by the imposing academy of Raya Lucaria. Here, the formidable Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon, resided with her great rune. Unlike his confrontation with Godric, Goku approached Rennala with respect rather than challenge. Her sorrow over the loss of her husband Radagon had driven her into isolation and madness. Surrounded by the reborn scholars she attempted to perfect through her magic. Your pain is something I can't fight with my fists, Goku told her after witnessing her rebirth ritual. But clinging to the past won't heal your heart. His genuine compassion reached through her madness in ways that combat could not. Though she could not part with her great rune, it being fundamentally different from the others, she granted Goku passage through her domains and shared her knowledge of the stars, which resonated with his own experiences traversing the cosmos. Word of Goku's deeds continued to spread, reaching the blood-soaked fields of Kailid, where General Radan, once the mightiest of warriors, now roamed mindlessly, consumed by scarlet rot and cosmic hunger. The festival to grant Radan an honorable death had been ongoing for ages, with countless warriors falling to his crazed strength. When Goku arrived, the assembled champions watched in awe as he approached the massive, corrupted demigod alone. I can feel it, Goku said, looking up at Radan's towering form. Underneath all that rot and madness, there's still a warrior's pride. The battle that ensued shook the very foundations of Kailid. Radan called down meteors from the cosmos while Goku's power escalated to match the challenge. Super Saiyan blue energy illuminated the scarlet wastelands as Goku pushed himself to new heights against an opponent whose raw strength rivaled some of the most powerful beings he had faced. Yet, even in his degraded state, Radan maintained one noble act, using his gravitational powers to hold back the stars, preventing them from crashing into the lands between. This sacrifice moved Goku deeply. You're still protecting everyone, even now, Goku said during a momentary pause in their battle. Even when your mind is gone, your heart remembers your duty. In a moment that would become legend, Goku didn't defeat Radan instead. He helped him. Using energy techniques he had learned from the Supreme Kai, Goku began to draw the scarlet rot from Radan's body, channeling it harmlessly into the already blighted sky. The process was grueling, taxing even Goku's immense reserves. For hours, the Saiyan stood with hands outstretched, extracting corruption while Radan roared and thrashed. Gradually, clarity returned to the general's eyes. When it was done, Radan knelt before Goku, not in submission, but in warrior's respect. He could not speak, his mind still damaged beyond full recovery, but he pressed his great rune into Goku's hands with a solemn nod. The transformation in the lands between accelerated. With each great rune recovered, portions of the realm began to heal. The influence of the outer gods weakened as the natural order reasserted itself. Yet the greatest challenges remained. In the Altus Plateau, the Lendl royal capital stood defiant under the protection of Morgoth, the Omen King. Unlike the other demigods, Morgoth viewed his divine heritage as a curse rather than a blessing. Cast out for his Omen birth, he had returned in disguise to protect the sanctity of the Erd Tree and the Golden Order. Their confrontation in the capital's throne room was as much philosophical as physical. "You claim to heal our realm," Morgoth said, his curved sword gleaming with golden light. "Yet you disrupt the very order that sustains it. The ambitions of man must be kept in check." Goku studied the self-appointed king carefully. "I've met gods before. The best ones didn't demand worship. They earned respect through their actions." "And what would a foreign warrior know of our golden order?" Morgoth challenged. "Not much," Goku admitted. "But I know when something's broken. Your golden order shattered, and trying to piece it back together exactly as it was won't fix what broke it in the first place." Their battle raged throughout the capital, golden light clashing with key energy as Morgoth summoned spectral weapons and Goku countered with martial prowess refined across countless battles. Yet, even as they fought, they recognized in each other a certain integrity, Morgoth's unwavering duty, and Goku's pure-hearted determination. When Morgoth finally fell, he looked up at Goku with newfound respect. "Perhaps the Erd Tree has sent you, after all, not as our punishment, but as our reclamation." "I don't think I was sent by anyone," Goku replied, helping the Omen King to his feet. "But I'm here now, and I want to help." Morgoth relinquished his great rune, but with a warning. "Beyond lies the Erd Tree Sanctuary, where my brother Morg commits blasphemies in service to an outer god. And beyond even him, in the heart of the Erd Tree itself, waits Queen Marika and the beast she has become entwined with." As Goku ventured deeper into the metaphysical heart of the lands between, he encountered horrors that tested even his resilient spirit. Morg, Lord of Blood, attempted to corrupt him with crimson rituals. The ancient dragon Placidusax challenged his mastery of time and space. With each victory, Goku absorbed new understanding of this world's complex cosmic order. Yet something was happening to him as well. The longer he remained in the lands between, the more its fundamental laws affected him. The key energy he had relied on throughout his life began to harmonize with the Golden Order's principles, creating new dimensions to his power. Melina noticed it first. "You're changing," she observed as they rested beneath the boughs of the minor Erd-tree. Your energy, it resonates with the Erd-tree now. It's as if the greater will recognizes you. Goku looked at his hands, noticing the faint golden shimmer that sometimes appeared when he channeled his ki. I can feel it. It's like when I first learned to use God Ki with Lord Beerus, but different, more connected to everything around me. You may be becoming something new, Melina suggested. Neither tarnished nor demigod, but something the lands between has never seen before. This transformation reached its culmination when Goku finally stood before the sealed doors of the Erd-tree. According to prophecy, only a Tarnished, who had collected all the great runes, could enter and repair the Elden Ring. I'm not tarnished, Goku said, placing his hand against the massive golden barrier. But maybe that doesn't matter anymore. He channeled his energy, not just his Saiyan power, but the harmonized force he had developed during his journey. The doors began to glow, responding to the unique signature of his spirit. Impossible! Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing, whispered from where he had come to witness this moment. The Erd-tree admits him, though he bears not the curse of the Tarnished. Within the heart of the Erd-tree, Goku encountered Radagon of the Golden Order and Queen Marika, two halves of the same being, locked in eternal conflict. Behind them hung the shattered remnants of the Elden Ring. Your world is fascinating, Goku said as he faced the divine pair. But it's been suffering too long under broken rules. It's time to either fix them or create something better. The battle that ensued transcended physical combat. Radagon wielded holy magic of devastating potency, while Marika's influence subtly altered reality itself. Goku found himself fighting not just with fists and energy, but with conviction and purpose. As the conflict reached its apex, the Elden Beast revealed itself, a cosmic entity that served as the vassal of the greater will. It engulfed Goku in a sea of stars, attempting to subsume his consciousness into the greater design of the universe. Within this cosmic ocean, Goku found himself confronting not just an external enemy, but the fundamental question of his purpose in this world. Was he meant to restore the old order, create a new one, or find another path entirely? I understand now, Goku said, his voice echoing across dimensions. This isn't about putting the pieces back exactly as they were. It's about finding harmony between order and freedom. Drawing upon everything he had learned from his earliest training with Grandpa Gohan to his godly transformations, Goku channeled a power beyond Super Saiyan, beyond even Ultra Instinct. His ki merged with the fundamental laws of the lands between, creating a resonance that the Elden Beast could not resist. With a final, transcendent effort, Goku gathered the great runes and fused them with his own life force, temporarily becoming a conduit for creation itself. The Elden Ring reformed, but not as it was before something new emerged. A balance between the rigid golden order and the chaos of the shattering. As the light faded, Goku found himself changed. The power he had channeled left its mark, granting him insight into the cosmic forces that shaped reality. Yet he remained fundamentally himself, a warrior who found joy in challenge and growth. Melina approached him in the aftermath, fully corporeal for the first time. You've done what no Tarnished could accomplish. The lands between are reborn. It feels different, Goku observed, looking out at the transformed landscape. The Erd Tree glowed with renewed vigor, but now other forms of life flourished alongside it, a harmony rather than a dominance. And you? Do you feel the pull of your own world? Melina asked. Goku nodded. Now that the Elden Ring is restored, I can sense it, a thin place between worlds where I might return home. He smiled. But not just yet. There's still work to be done here. In the months that followed, Goku traveled the lands between once more, this time not as a seeker of great runes, but as a teacher. He established a school of martial arts in the restored Round Table Hold, where warriors, including a reformed Godric and partially healed Radahn, came to learn the true path to strength. He taught them not just combat techniques, but the philosophy that had guided him throughout his life. That true power comes from protecting others, that limits exist to be surpassed through honest effort, and that mercy can sometimes be the greatest strength of all. When the day finally came for his departure, warriors from across the realm gathered to bid him farewell. Even the dragons of Farum Azula sent representatives to honor the strange visitor who had changed their world forever. Will we see you again? Asked Kenneth Haight, now legitimately restored as the rightful lord of Limgrave. Goku smiled, that characteristic smile that had become legendary across the lands between. Maybe someday. There are always new challenges to face, new heights to reach. He looked up at the Erd Tree, its golden light now interwoven with strands of blue energy, a permanent reminder of his presence. Besides, I think a part of me will always be here. With a final wave, Goku stepped through the dimensional tier that had appeared similar to the one that had brought him here, but now controlled and understood. As he vanished, a whisper seemed to pass through the Erd Tree itself, a promise carried on the wind to all corners of the realm. Keep training, keep growing stronger, and remember, the greatest battles are the ones we fight to protect what matters most. In the ages that followed, the tale of the Saiyan who mended the Elden Ring became the stuff of legend. Some called him the Merciful Lord, others the Warrior of Ki. In Caelid, they erected statues of him, drawing forth the scarlet rot. In Liurnia, scholars debated whether he had been a manifestation of the greater will, or something altogether beyond its comprehension. But in the dojos that sprang up across the land, they simply called him Master Goku, and they practiced his techniques with the dedication he had shown throughout his journey. And sometimes, when a particularly gifted student achieved a moment of perfect harmony between Ki and the Golden Order, observers swore they could see a faint blue aura tinged with gold, a sign that somewhere across the vastness of the multiverse, Goku was smiling.